So, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me this morning. I'm Lama Dundrup, and I'm the resident Lama at Sukha City Foundation, which is a Vajrayana or Tibetan Buddhist center in Fairfax, California, founded by Lama Palden. We're a center in the Shangpa Kagyu tradition. And with this current health crisis, we have transitioned our classes and meditations online. So I'm here with you today to lead a calm abiding practice and also a practice of Tara who dispels epidemics. And also to let you know of a few other things happening on Friday, I'll be leading this practice, I should say, today on Tuesdays and Fridays at 8:15 a.m. Pacific time. And then this coming Friday at 9:30 a.m., I'll be on Facebook Live introducing the Dharma training program that we have at Sukha City Foundation. At Sukha City Foundation, we have a series of 4 programs that lead students through the basic practices of a 3-year retreat, but this takes place in our daily life. And the first of those programs is called the Dharma Training Program, and it will be starting, a new module of the Dharma Training Program will be starting on April 26th. So I'll be introducing that on Friday and will be available for any questions and answers about that program. And then this coming weekend on Saturday and Sunday, I will be giving a 2-day retreat on the Medicine Buddha. So I will be going through the Medicine Buddha practice and explaining the detail of that and how to do that practice and some general teachings as well. And then the following week, we will begin on Sundays. We have our Sukha City Sunday series, and we basically spend the morning practicing together from 9 a.m. until 1. And in this series, we'll be doing this Tara practice that we're doing this morning. We'll also be doing the Medicine Buddha practice, and I'll be finishing up a teaching that I have been giving on the 5 wisdoms and how to work with difficult emotions. So today, though, I would like to continue with our calm abiding practice and Tara who dispels epidemics. So this practice of Tara is in the category of a creation and completion stage practice, or generation and completion stage practice. The Tibetan word for creation phase or generation phase is Karim, and completion phase is Zokrem. So the creation phase or the Karim phase is when we are visualizing the Yidam. We are interacting with the Yidam with praises and offerings and chanting of the mantra, and doing all the visualizations that accompany all of those aspects of the practice. And the completion stage practice is when the Yidam dissolves into us and we rest in the nature of mind. This is the completion stage. And so over the course of the next 3 times we meet here on Facebook Live, I want to talk about the 3 points that are essential to the development of the Karim, or the creation stage part of our practice. So these 3 points or aspects that are essential to the development of that practice are clear appearance, recollection of purity, and stable confidence. In Tibetan, we refer to clear appearance as sel, and the recollection of purity, we refer to that as dak, and stable confidence we refer to as ten. And so together, collectively, we refer to those 3 aspects of practice as sel, dak, ten, sum, sum meaning 3. So today I wanted to speak a little bit about sel, or clear appearance. So this means that when we're doing the practice, we do our best to see the visualization with clarity, vividness, with precision, with brilliance. And the degree of clarity in our visualization has a direct relationship with the degree of clarity, or the degree to which we can rest in non-distraction. So the degree of clarity of our visualization has a direct relationship with the degree to which we can rest in non-distraction. Or in other words, the clarity of the visualization is a reflection of how quiet our mind is, how stable our shamatha, or our calm abiding, is. So when our minds become still, when we are not following thoughts, but we're remaining in our present experience, directly experiencing the present moment, our minds become still and quiet like the water of a lake when there's no current or no breeze. And when the water of the mind is still, appearances are reflected in a way that's clear, it's vivid, it's pristine. Another way to think of it, it's like a clear, undistorted mirror in which phenomena appear, and they appear immediately, and they are reflected vividly, an exact representation. So when we're in the portion of the practice that we've been doing on these Tuesday and Friday sessions, when we're in the calm abiding practice session, there's multiple layers to our aim, to our intention. On the most basic fundamental level, we're working with our mind and finding a way to relate to our current experience. Particularly when it's a difficult experience, we need to have these basic practices to help us stabilize and not get lost or fixated on the emotions and the feelings and the thoughts that are coming up. So on a basic level, that's how we're working with the calm abiding practice. And then beyond that, we're working with our minds so that we can begin to allow the wisdom and the compassion that is innate to our human experience, allow that to come into the foreground. So when we are doing this calm abiding practice, what we're doing is we're starting to loosen that fixation that we have on self and other, that dualistic fixation. That fixation on good and bad, dividing things into categories. And the way this works is that if we were to slow down our experience, we would notice that a sensation arises, some sort of phenomena arises, and then we immediately categorize it as pleasant, unpleasant, or just kind of whatever, neutral. It's like good or bad, or I just don't really care, it doesn't matter so much to me. We first put it in one of these three categories, and then we give it a name, we identify it, and with each of these steps, we're moving further and further away from our experience. We're moving more and more into a dualistic relationship with phenomena. So phenomena arises, we identify it as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. We give it a name, and then once we've given it that name, all of the thoughts that we associate with that object begin to arise. And once we get there, then it just proliferates, and we are living then in our mental consciousness, not actually living in our direct experience. So when we're doing the calm abiding practice, it's kind of like we're slowing down that process that moves very quickly, that process that takes us into the experience of self and other. And we are trying to stabilize the mind so that first we can kind of start it towards the end of the process. We are letting go of all of that thinking. And then as we let go of that thinking, we can let go of even identifying something with a specific name. And deeper into the experience, we can let go of even categorizing something as good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant, or neutral, and just rest directly in our experience. And when we can just rest directly in our experience, then this wisdom, this primordial wisdom, and all of the qualities of awakened mind that are inherent in who we are, our Buddha nature, can then start to come into the foreground. And when this happens, then all of the qualities of awakened mind can begin to just naturally spring forth. I've always, so when we're doing one of these visualizations, the yidam springs forth from mind and appears in the sky in front. And I particularly like how it is worded in the Vajrayogini, or the Vajra Varahi practice, where we say that the visualization arises like a fish leaping from water. So in the case of this Tara who dispels epidemics practice, we're going to start with a calm abiding practice, quiet the mind, and then like a fish leaping from water, immediately Tara who dispels epidemics appears in the sky in front. This quality of compassion that is innate in our being springs forth and arises in the form of Tara who dispels epidemics. Jetsun Droma, Ritu Loma Gyunma. And I do want to note that when we talk about a calm abiding practice or a meditation practice, it's truly a practice. There are going to be days, so we're repeating our experience to get more and more skilled at it, strengthening that muscle. And there are going to be days when we sit down and the mind is just very distracted and we just do our best to stay present. Other days the mind will be more quiet or will be less distracted, and we can work on these deeper levels. So no matter what our mind state is, we want to put forth the best effort that we can, set an intention to have the visualization arise clearly so we can work on that cell or the clear appearance aspect of practice. So when we are doing the visualization, if our mind is quite distracted, it can really function as a calm abiding practice. So rather than bringing our attention back to the breath, we are bringing our attention to the visualization and allowing that to help us steady ourselves, to tether ourselves to the present moment. And when we find that our mind is steady, then we can start to look at the visualization to see its vividness and its clarity. And one way to do this, while you're chanting the mantra, visualizing the light of the sun and the light of the moon radiating from Tara's eyes, you can simultaneously be sort of scanning her body, focusing in on each detail of the body and seeing it clearly. This can help to sharpen that the cell, the clear appearance. So you can start at one way of doing it. There's many ways. You can start at the top of her body and start to move downwards. You can see the crown that she wears. You can see the detail of the crown. You can see her hair, the texture of her hair. You can take in the features of her face, looking directly in her eyes. You can focus in on the earrings or just any aspect of the visualization, kind of moving from the top downwards. Or you can start at the bottom, at the lotus, beneath her, the lotus and the moon seat, and moving up to her legs and then up her body. This can help to stabilize the clarity of the visualization. And you can even, if you want, you can even have in mind that you're circumambulating her. You are circling her and seeing her from every angle. And this really helps the visualization to be three-dimensional and as real as possible, as opposed to a flat painting. So when we're doing this practice, in addition to seeing this pure form, this form of Tara arising in front of us, we're also recognizing our surroundings to be pure. You can imagine that there's space that you're in, the entire environment is a pure realm, and everything is exquisite and beautiful. You can imagine that the home that you're in is a celestial palace, like a crystal palace that's ornamented with jewels and flowers, etc. And we even recognize all beings that we see as Tara, and all sound that we hear as the sound of the mantra. And in this way, we are continuing to work with letting go of that dualistic fixation. We're kind of loosening it up, starting to see things more how they actually are. So little by little, we work in this way to loosen that dualistic fixation and recognize our nature. So we will start by moving into a calm abiding practice so that we can work to stabilize our mind, which then can allow the visualization of Tara to arise clearly and vividly. So take a moment to find a way to sit that allows you to be upright, allows your spine to be straight. And at the same time, you want to have a feeling of relaxation. So we want to be alert, yet relaxed. And we'll start with the refuge prayer, which is now, we have updated the practice page, which I believe is posted in the comments. And it now includes the refuge prayer and the 4 measurables, as well as the dedication. So if you are comfortable doing this, you can chant this along with me. We'll be chanting the refuge prayer three times, and then the 4 measurables 1 time. And so what we're doing is we are taking refuge in, we're leaning back into our Buddha nature, to what we know to be true, and to the community that supports us. And we're also relying on those who have traveled the path before us and have made a commitment to guide us as we do the same. Until enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the accumulation of merit and wisdom, may I awaken for the benefit of all beings. Until enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the accumulation of merit and wisdom, may I awaken for the benefit of all beings. Until enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the accumulation of merit and wisdom, may I awaken for the benefit of all beings. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings have no suffering nor the causes of suffering. May all beings have the supreme bliss which is free from all suffering. May all beings live in the great equanimity which is free from all attachment and aversion. So again, turn your attention to your posture, allowing the spine to be straight so that the central channel is straight and that our subtle wind can flow in as smooth a way as possible. And we'll begin with 3 cleansing breaths. So we're first going to exhale all of the air, and then as we inhale, we're going to be inhaling 5-colored light, imagining that to fill your body. And as we exhale, we're going to release and let go of all obstacles, all illness, anything that stands in the way of our moving forward on the path of awakening. So I'm going to ring the bell 3 times, and as we've been doing on the first ringing of the bell, we are just going to completely let go of all thoughts about the past. Let go of all activity that we've gone through in order to sit down here this morning. On the second ringing of the bell, we'll completely let go of all thoughts of the future. And on the third ringing of the bell, we'll let go of all thoughts, even about the present moment. Let go of all evaluation and judgment. Let go of categorizing things as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, and just rest in our direct experience as it arises. So oftentimes we find that our attention is gathering or resting up in our head or up sort of high in the body, and you want to allow that attention to just flow down into your entire body, feeling your arms all the way down to your fingertips, feeling your torso and your legs, feeling where your hands come into contact with your legs, down to your feet, and feeling the earth beneath us, letting go into the support of the earth element. And while we're doing this practice, your gaze can be soft with the eyes open, unless that's uncomfortable. If that's uncomfortable, you can close your eyes. But we'll have our eyes directed downwards with the gaze soft without fixating on any object. And bring your attention specifically to your subnavel region, which is about 3 finger widths below your navel. And become aware of the movement of the breath in the region of the subnavel. And if it helps to draw your attention there, you can place the palm of your hand on that subnavel region. And that can also help you to feel the body expanding as you breathe in air and as you exhale, the body relaxing. So we're going to work on quieting the water of our mind by following the rising and falling of the breath. So whenever a thought arises, a sensation arises, we just let go of it. No judgment, just let go of it and bring your attention back to the breath. Coming into direct contact with your present experience. Letting your mind follow or ride the movement of the wind element as it fills your body and leaves the body in its own natural rhythm. Letting go of identifying an experience as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, or even identifying it with a name. Just let go of that and move more and more into your direct experience. allowing the mind to be like a clean, undistorted mirror that without effort reflects clearly whatever is arising without any commentary. And then, as we have been doing, let go of following the inhalation and let your attention rest on the exhalation. And as the breath leaves the body, allow your awareness to begin to open. So it's like this still lake of our mind begins to open to the vast ocean. And as you do this, you can also slowly allow your gaze to rise. So until you are looking upwards. Allowing the awareness to expand in all directions, 360 degrees. And now let go of attention to the breath and allow your mind to just simply be absorbed in that vast openness. And innate in this expanse of awareness is compassion. So you can imagine that, like a great wave of compassion, compassion begins to take form. It springs forth like a fish leaping from water. Imagine that in the sky in front, a fully blossomed lotus instantly appears. And this lotus is made of light. It is three-dimensional. It appears just as vivid as a flower in your room would. But this lotus is transparent. It's made of light. It appears, yet there's nothing that we can grab onto, like a rainbow. And then instantly on top of that fully blossomed lotus, a disk of the moon appears. It lays horizontally on top of the lotus. And this is forming a seat. And then allow your attention to rest specifically in the area just right in the center of the moon disk and just above it. Still with the mind open and spacious. And like a fish leaping from water, imagine that this drop of light instantly appears. And this little sphere or tigli of light is saffron in color. It's a yellow-red, and it radiates brilliantly in all directions. This is the essence of Tara, who dispels epidemics. Ritu Loma Gyunma. This is the essence of her arising in the form of this drop of light. And then instantly that light transforms into Tara. And Ritu Loma Gyunma is now in the sky in front. Her body is made of light and is saffron colored. And she appears vividly, clearly. And her legs, as she sits on this lotus, her left leg is drawn in close to her. Her right leg is slightly extended, ready to leap up. In a moment's notice, as soon as we call on her, she's committed herself to immediately come to help us. So her right leg is slightly extended. Her right hand is resting in the mudra of generosity, meaning it is resting palm up on her right knee. And in her left hand, between her thumb and her ring finger, which are at her heart center, she's holding the stem of a lotus. And this lotus blooms next to her left ear. And on top of that lotus is a round vessel, and this vessel is filled with medicinal herbs, substances. And she has two eyes. And with these eyes, she looks directly at you and looks at all beings with tenderness, with kindness, with compassion, with nothing but the wish for your well-being. And she's adorned with silks and jewels. So she wears silk garments. And starting at the top of her hair, she is wearing a crown of the 5 Buddha families. She has transmuted all of the 5 kleshas into the 5 wisdoms. And moving down from the crown, on top of her head, she wears golden earrings. She wears necklaces of 3 lengths, short, medium, and long. She has bracelets at her wrists and at her elbows. She has a golden belt and anklets or bangles at her ankles that are also golden with jewels. She's exquisite. And now we're going to imagine that light radiates forth from her heart. And that light purifies all obscurations of all sentient beings, completely purifies the environment. Simultaneously, that light is making offerings to all those who have awakened. And with that light, we invite the wisdom aspect of Tara to come to be with us. So imagine that in response to that invitation, many forms of Tara begin to rain down, all different sizes, and they rain down and dissolve into Tara in the sky in front. And as this happens, you can imagine her to be radiating more and more brilliantly. And now we can rest with confidence that in this visualization in the sky in front is the embodiment of Tara and her wisdom, her compassion. And we chant the homage to her, which is on the practice page. Homage to her whose 2 eyes shine with the luminosity of the sun and moon, who dispels virulent epidemics with 2 hara and with 2 tara. And now imagine in her heart center, her mantra begins to vibrate. Her compassion begins to arise in the form of vibration and sound. And as that mantra sounds, it fills her body with light. And from her right eye, the light of the sun radiates forth, and it completely dispels COVID-19. All viruses, all fevers, all epidemics, completely dispels them and their causes. And then see from her left eye, the light of the moon flows as nectar, and that nectar flows down into the crown of your head and into the crown of the head of every sentient being, flowing down your central channel, completely filling your body and bringing healing and well-being and ease. So we'll join our voices with that mantra which is already resonating, which is already sounding. We will join our voices with this wisdom arising as sound, making prayers and visualizing Tara clearly in the sky in front. Om Tare Tu Re Nama Tare Manohara Hum Hara Svaha. Om Tare Tu Re Nama Tare Manohara Hum Hara Svaha. Om Tare Tu Re Nama Tare Manohara Hum Hara Svaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. So continue to chant the mantra, seeing Tara in the sky as vividly as possible. And if that's not happening for you, just have complete conviction that she's there. And that from her right eye, the light of the sun is radiating forth, completely dispelling COVID-19, all fevers and viruses and epidemics, completely dispelling them and their causes. And the light of the moon flows from her left eye as nectar. And that nectar or Amrita is flowing into the crown of your head and the head of all sentient beings, completely filling your body, bringing healing, well-being, and ease. And we'll continue to chant the mantra. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Mano Hara Hum Hara Swaha. Om Tare Ture Nama Tare Om Tare Ture Om Tare Again, as you're chanting the mantra, the light of the sun is radiating forth from her right eye, completely dispelling COVID-19 and its causes. And the light of the moon flows from her left eye as nectar, which flows into you and to all sentient beings, bringing healing, well-being, and ease. For a moment, just pause the mantra and see Tara who dispels epidemics dissolve into light, into a drop of saffron-colored light, and that light moves towards the crown of your head, enters the crown of your head, moving down your central channel until it comes to rest in your heart center. And then from your heart center, see and feel it radiating light in all directions. And this light reveals your ordinary body to be the body of Tara. And so you are sitting with your left leg drawn in close and your right leg slightly extended. Your body is made of light, saffron colored. Your right hand's in the mudra of generosity, and your left hand at your heart center, holding between your thumb and ring finger the stem of a lotus, which is blossoming at your left ear. On top of that lotus is a round vessel containing medicinal herbs. You're adorned with silks and jewels, and we're going to continue chanting the mantra. And as you chant the mantra, feel it beginning in your heart center, radiating out. And from your right eye, the light of the sun radiates forth, completely dispelling COVID-19 and its causes. And the light of the moon flows forth from your left eye as nectar, which brings healing, well-being, and ease to every sentient being. So we'll continue with the mantra. From your right eye, the light of the sun radiates forth, completely dispelling COVID-19 and its causes. And from your left eye, the light of the moon flows forth as nectar, bringing healing, well-being, and ease. Tare ture nama tare mano hara hum hara svaha. So imagine now that that light from your right and left eye stops radiating forth, and you begin to dissolve into light from the lotus beneath you, moving upwards, and from the crown that you wear on top of your head, moving downwards, dissolving, converging into your heart center. So your body dissolves into light until all that remains is this drop of light at your heart center. And this light is saffron colored. So you are arising as this drop of light, the essence of compassion. And then this light too begins to dissolve, getting smaller and smaller until it completely dissolves into this open expanse of awareness. And we'll take a moment to rest our mind in this vast openness. And then, like a fish leaping from water, a great wave of compassion moves and you re-arise. But this time you re-arise not in your ordinary body, but in the form of Tara. You imagine that all beings that arise as Tara, and that our surroundings are nothing but her pure land, this brilliant, exquisite environment, and that all sound is inseparable from the sound of her mantra, which is compassion arising, is vibration and sound. And all movements of the mind are the movements of awakened mind. And then we will move into the dedication. So whenever we complete a practice, we want to share the benefit that arises from that practice. We just share it and offer it freely with all beings so that all beings may awaken, that they may be free of suffering and its many forms. So this dedication prayer is at the end of the practice page. And if you don't have that printed out or on your computer, you can just imagine that you're freely offering any benefit that has arisen in this hour together. You offer that to all beings. Through this goodness, may awakening spontaneously arise in our streams of being. May all obscurations and distortions fall away. May all beings be liberated from suffering and the stormy waves of birth, age, and death. So thank you for joining me this morning. I will be back on Friday morning on Facebook Live at 8:15 to lead this practice again. And I encourage you to do this practice as much as you can between now and Friday. You can chant that mantra as you're moving throughout your day, making prayers to Tara. And if you have any questions, you can leave those in the comments and I will answer those in this period of time following the meditation and a little bit later in the day and tomorrow. Okay, so may you be well, may you be healthy, until we meet again.